No players of one that did came back. All right, things are looking good.
What an interesting 6 p.m., 7 p.m. hour last night. Very strange.
It's weird. It's also the norm right now. And yeah, you and I'm at a parking lot at Leon High School waiting for my son to finish football practice, and I'm watching this play out. It's just boom, 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 and then the storms hit, and I'm like, well, I could do a video from the Leon parking lot in a driving rainstorm holding my phone. But you know that really the story as it played out last night in today that we woke up and exhaled about is the farmer story, because I think that would have been disappointing, obviously, to the vast majority of the fan base. Not devastating, but disappointing, certainly, because he's a player that's on the rise, and he was going to be part of that rotation, and we think he has a chance to have a very good season, an impactful season for Florida State. So, however, the wrangling and the back and forth and the eureka moment for Josh Farmer had to come, luckily, it landed in favor of Florida State, and he's going to stay. And I think we're in good shape there. As we hit the airwaves, of course, most people saw him post and then take down his post. Micah Pittman should be announcing anytime, I think, that he'll be leaving. That's fine. Micah wasn't going to have an impact on the team this year, it doesn't look like. He's a player that had surgery, was going to miss time this year. So, if you're not going to have Micah Pittman for the first game against LSU, and there's a chance you weren't going to have him against Clemson, then he's useless to you. And if he wants to take it down the road, then so be it. We'll see if he does or he doesn't. If you do get him back, I always admired how hard he played. I always admired how tough he was for his size. You're not going to cry over the talent at 5'9" and relatively slow, but you do miss the toughness. So that's the only aspect of it that I would worry about in losing him. One thing I will say, though, whether it was because it was infectious with him or just a point of emphasis, Florida State has done a very good job of getting other receivers, all their receivers, for the most part, to buy in on blocking. So just by losing him, you're not going to suddenly lose that segment group's toughness. Johnny blocks really well, and he's big enough and strong enough to do something about it. But technique-wise, he's good at it. And then, Portier and others do the same.
I agree completely that Micah had real value here in changing the culture and bringing an extra element of team first play to the group. And Ron Dugans credits him. I asked Coach Dugans before spring started about Johnny's ability to block, and he interjected himself. He said, well, honestly, Micah was the one that started it. Once Johnny at 6'7" sees this little guy doing it, I asked him, why aren't you?
Yeah.
And then he had to, and that's how the culture flips, and that's how you get guys to be contagious in a good way. With Micah, I agree with your assessment as it pertains to the first 4 games of the season.
That's the only reason.
Would have been nice to have Micah in the rotation for roadies to Pitt, your rivalry games, and then subsequent games that you would hope you'd be playing on a bigger stage, especially as a punt returner, especially in that blocking phase to help pave the way for other teammates. But if he wasn't, and we don't know for sure, but if it was projected that it would be tough for him to make it back in September, and that certainly was within the window of the 4 to 6 months of healing that he'd have to do, then this impact isn't as felt. If wherever he goes, he's not available in week 1 and week 4, the impact is not nearly as great as it would have been.
Well, let me just point this out. If he's leaving, he has to sit out a year. So I think I can deduce successfully that Micah wasn't going to be able to play to the level he wanted to play because of that hip and the surgery on it. And thus this decision's made a little bit easier because he has to miss the year to begin with. Now, that's my assumption.
If he graduates, though, I don't know if he got his degree. I think you get another freebie. Like, you get an anytime transfer, but then if you complete your undergrad, I think you get another freebie where you don't have to sit. Now, I don't know what I'm not working in at admissions or enrollment. I have no idea where he is in his academic journey.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. I don't know where he is on his academic journey either. So maybe he has graduated, and if that's the case, it does have an impact on what we're talking about here in terms of his ability not to have to sit. I think if I'm Micah Pittman, look, if we're being honest here, the chances of him going to the league are pretty slim. So I don't know. Go where you can get the most amount of money, maybe, is the way I would look at it. Mike is an interesting cat in that if you talk about big picture stuff in NIL, Mike is a guy that truly, like, when we look at the impact of name, image, likeness, and people who invest in it, I always bring up women's soccer or volleyball or gymnastics. Like, non-revenue sports tend to be more impactful and do better in terms of return on investment. So if you're an advertiser and you truly want to be able to pay an athlete, Tom, to represent you in a way that elevates your brand and is going to in turn lead to you making more money on your investment, most of the time it's not a football player. It's not a football player.
Yep.
This has become a de facto, to me, way of paying players to come play football for you, but it's not really an investment in the way
the
that
return.
the return. It's not.
Yeah, it's an excuse.
Yeah. So to me, where you see it, we know some of these girls that or women, young women in soccer or gymnastics or softball that have done exceptionally well. I mean, look around the country. There's the girl at LSU, young lady at LSU who's done really well. I don't know. I'm not following her, but
there's the Louisville basketball player that just transferred to LSU because of the opportunity that comes with that. Yes.
Yeah. And they can make real money and there can be a real return on investment.
You had the twins that play at Miami that left Miami because there's more money elsewhere.
Oh, yeah.
For their name, image, likeness, their brand. And then there's a gymnast at Auburn who is worth $3.6 million in the valuation done by On3, the parent company. She just signed with Sports Illustrated.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. Like, that's where it really works in terms of name, image, likeness, and people having an opportunity to invest in a spokesman, and that person in turn elevates your business. Doesn't really happen too much in football unless you're, investing in Caleb Williams or somebody that's the nation knows, like Bryce Young might have worked, something like that. A right guard ain't doing a damn thing for you anywhere, unless he's outrageous. So why would I bring this up? Well, Mike is the guy that's on all the social media stuff, his vlogs and his Twitter and his Instagram and all this other stuff. I mean, that's what he does.
There were some teammates of his, I think, that expressed, I don't know if it was tongue in cheek or not, displeasure with the fact that Micah Pittman got chosen to sleep in the Cheez-It room during the bowl as one player from each team.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't a choice. He's the only choice given his influence, his sphere of influence.
Right.
If you're a brand like Cheez-It, you're going to choose Micah Pittman, and there's not a second place, not even Jordan at this point.
So I guess what I'm getting at here as I try to answer the question, as people are asking, why would he leave? Well, I don't know. He might have opportunities. If you think about it from a family side of things, and I don't know where he's going, but if you think about it from a family side of things, Southern Cal makes all the sense in the world, given relatives that played there.
Legacy, yeah.
So if he could go to L.A., and even though he doesn't project as a pro in any way, shape, or form, if he could go to Los Angeles and elevate his status as an influencer, in essence, and also highlight Southern Cal in that way, or whomever it is that would be willing to give him money, like way more than he's worth as a football player, well, then I would encourage him to do that. And I have no hard feelings. And I don't have a problem with any of this.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking why. Well, Florida State's not going to give that kid, the football player. They're not going to give that kid any money. I mean, or very little. I don't know what they gave him, what the Battles Inn gave him, but it can't be a lot. I mean, he's a minimal impact player. So, yeah, we'll miss the punt returns, Tom, because Lord knows it took us forever to find a guy who could do it.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a game changer, but he caught the damn ball.
He was a B or a B plus punt returner, which is many letters ahead of where we were.
Yeah.
We were below F.
So it would make sense if but listen, we'll find out what happens in due time. But if somebody says, hey, somebody at Southern Cal wants him to come, and they really are excited about all that he could do in the social media world, the influencer world, and he can come he's a legacy, something like that. And they want to pay a kid $300, $400 to do it. I'm making sums up here, guys. Well, by all means, sir, get on a plane, go get your money, because you're not going to make it in the pros. So go get your money. And that in Florida State rightfully would never match that. I mean, I'm not speaking on behalf of Florida State or the Battles Inn, but this is a really easy thing to deduce. You wouldn't pay Micah Pittman a lot of money to stay on your football team.
And just to circle back, you're correct. There was a post and then a pullback At this point, I think it's fair to say if you're trying to play the journalism, stay in the journalism lane, which we don't have to in sports talk radio, but the expectation is that he's going to announce that he's transferring.
Yeah, he may
That's where
not.
we are right now.
Yeah, he may not. He may not be gone, but he did post and take something down. So it is fair, I think, at that point to speculate that he's thinking about it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking on. We're saying as if it may be a possibility. It seems likely at that point.
And it's also probably fair to say, wink, wink, that tracks. That tracks.
Yeah.
The developments today aren't shocking.
And I just want to reiterate in case anybody thinks, oh, well, Well, I know a lot of things just by observing. We can deduce a lot of things. All of us can, just by observing the landscape. And this would make sense to me. Now, it could be that it's a different university. I mean, I may be presuming California is the place for him, but it could be any number of schools that decide they want that kind of influencer around their program. Maybe it's a lesser school that has a spot for him that wants to be elevated. We don't know. The point remains, though, that if somebody's offering that kid a good amount of money, far and above what he's worth as just a football player,
our brand doesn't need the help.
Correct. Then you would tell him, hey, man, good for you. Good for you. Go get it. Especially, it's easier to say if he was maybe not going to be ready to play.
Well, if he was 100% cleared and ready to go, he went through spring, I think this would sound a little bit different. Wouldn't you agree? Because then you wouldn't have these open questions the final 2 weeks of spring camp of who's the number 2 wide receiver with a veteran injured and on the mend at whatever rate we don't know.
Right.
But if Pittman was 100%, you knew that special
correct.
teams, you knew that, he was good for 330 yards last year and 3 touchdowns, but that's a 30-catch guy. That's probably the more important number. That's second on the team, 32 catches. I think it was 32 or 33. If you knew that guy was 100% ready to go for LSU when you need all veterans, all hands on deck, this would be a much higher impact. But because that's up in the air, perhaps doubtful, the impact is felt, I think, a little bit less, at least
minimally,
on either side of this glass that we're looking through.
Yeah, minimally. I don't see the high-end value that maybe others do, other than I will admit I loved his toughness. I love that he played really hard, and I love that he cared. He was passionate. We watched him practice. He cared, and he showed up and did his job. So that is awesome. And you hope everybody does that. He did do that, so I'll give him that. But again, you said it with a video we cut earlier today. And we'll have access to that here on the show. We'll play it for you because we did one for Bishop Thomas and we did one for Duke Cooper. And, we now look at these rosters a little less, and I can say this at my age, I guess, less like a parent than we used to, or a fellow Knoll than we used to. Because as this game shifts and continues to shift more towards a professional league or professional football in which players are paid by performance, you don't have to couch words all that much anymore about, an 18, 19-year-old kid. You smoke or get smoked, man. Either you can play or you can't play. And we need to make room on this roster for people that can. And if you're taking up a spot, and in some cases, money, which is part of a bigger pie, and you're not living up to that billing or what was expected of based on the money's given, you got to go because we'll find somebody else to pay and bring in here and do it. So I want to say that to people when they hear, I can be pretty blunt as it is, and I usually don't hold back, much to the chagrin of some, much to the happiness of others. But I can promise you I'm not going to beat around the bush with guys that are getting paid. If somebody's not any good, I'm going to tell you they suck. They need to move on. And I'm not worried that he's a college student because we're moving into professional football here. Just so people know, it's not a personal thing. I'm just going to say this kid can't play. We're paying him a certain amount of money, or I'm aware of a certain amount of money that has been distributed, and that ain't it. We need to move on and give it to somebody else. And so that's all I'm saying.
It's no longer, though. It's funny you said that with the wording. It's no longer a disbursement. It's no longer what's the term that they used?
An inducement.
No, dispensation. I'm trying to think. Stipend. It's no longer a stipend. It's
Right.
just straight payment.
Just straight up payment.
It's a straight payment now, which that word, it's different. Stipend sounds much more collegial, and it's still protected by the shield of the almost the innocence of being a student athlete. But straight up payment, pay for play, which is what this all is across the country with the collectives, to your point about sphere of influence versus dollars earned as, a fourth defensive tackle on a team. Yeah, you could be a little bit more cut and dry. You could be more NFL about this.
Yeah. And again, it's not personal.
But Pittman had value, and he had a lot more if he would have been healthy from the jump.
Yep. As far as impact on the team, if you're going to, it's nuanced, the discussion, impact on the upcoming season. It's nuanced because we're not exactly sure that he was going to be able to play a lot of football this year regardless. And if that's the case, then it's not impactful because he wasn't going to play anyhow. As you noted correctly, if we were sure that he was going to be healthy and ready to hit the ground running day one against LSU, yeah, it would have been nice to have him because he can give something to your football team.
You want stability. You want guys that you know exactly where they're going to be, how they're going to be in a game with the high stakes like FSU and LSU. That's why when Dimitri Emanuel's eligibility waiver came back, it's a big sigh of relief for this guy. Maybe more than anybody on the staff, but I thought that was humongous. Because if you want to move some guys around the offensive line and experiment and do all those kinds of things, and it doesn't work out after a drive or two, and Meach is on the sideline, you go grab Dimitri Emanuel because I know what the hell you're going to be.
Right,
you were
right,
just that for a
right.
full season. And this is LSU. It ain't Duquesne. It's not Boston College. It's not Georgia Tech in Ireland. This is LSU. It's the get-out-of-jail-free card game. So if Micah was ready for that, it would have been great. But if it was a different, and he's not going to be either way available week one for us or wherever he goes, all right, move on.
So it is that it's the ebbs and flows in the life of the portal and what goes on with players and the emotions elicited. It's kind of fun to watch. You can always tell when people have a guy. Greg would admit here on the chat, for example, he's in love with Micah Pittman. He can't not profess his love for Micah Pittman, and so it's hurt. It hurt his feelings that Micah's leaving. But there's a different player for everybody, right? I think for a lot of people, if Farmer had left, we'd feel the much greater impact if you're just doing apples to apples here in terms of players leaving and the frustration that people felt. And that's all right. Everybody's got a guy. You, if Rodney Hill leaves, it's going to hurt your soul.
It would.
You love Rodney Hill.
Because I see the end of the tunnel for Rodney, and it's a special place. The light is so bright on the other side. But I have to chuckle, as you said, if Farmer had left, and I just envision the segment of the audience, either in the car or now logging on to Warchant TV, who are like, wait a minute, what? If Farmer had left, he did leave, Jeff.
No, he didn't leave. Farmer never left.
It never happened. It's fiction. We made it up.
It's fun. It's fun. It's also frustrating at times. It's also, to me, when I look at covering this, which is our job, right? I all at once am conflicted with why do we ever respond to a kid's announcement about anything? And also the acknowledgement that there's no way you can do this job anymore without responding to each and every indication that there may be something. I mean, the two extremes is what I'm getting at here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had that discussion. It's been a long week. Feels like a long week with all these twists and turns. But, kind of a tomorrow's news today kind of discussion. Was it Monday or Wednesday? Where we're saying there's a lot of Dear Diary stuff behind the scenes. It goes back and forth.
Oh, buddy.
And you don't want to know most of it. And I think there was a segment, maybe the audience saying, yes, we do. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure now?
Yeah.
Because what you have seen this week is but the tip of the iceberg. Underneath, it's the duck on the water. The feet underneath, here they go, back and forth with multiple instances across all programs that are big-time college football programs in the country.
You'll deal with it even more the better you get. If we have a great season this year and we're able to elevate in the world of high school recruiting as well as in the portal. And the floor is raised yet again. Hold on to your britches when you get into spring, because the Spring of Hurt Feelings Part 2 will happen, and bigger names will be sent packing or will choose to take it on down the road, as I say, because this is what happens. Guys get recruited over, feelings get hurt, guys get showcased, have opportunities, surrounded by better players, numbers are better. Other programs in desperation make the move that so many times Florida State has already done to improve the program to the point where you can lose guys like this and shrug it off.
Woo! Old T. Swifty has appreciated this segment. He's entertained.
Appreciate you, T. Swifty.
It's a great name.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Trucking accident? Call Basic Brooks Law Offices. 77.
What's up, guys? Our next partner that you're going to hear from is Athletic Greens. You've heard me talk about Athletic Greens in the past. Happy to talk about them again. I take Athletic Greens every day, and I gave them a try because certainly I wanted more energy, sustained energy. I wanted to support my immune system. I don't like taking pills and vitamins per se, and I wanted something that tasted good too. And the first time I tried it, I was very surprised. It had an appreciable effect on my energy levels. And also, over time, you'll note that it helps your skin, your hair, your nails. I don't have a lot of hair, but if I did, I bet I could feel that. I bet I could tell. It's a comprehensive health habit, and it is a powerful one at that. AG1 is great for recovery. That's Athletic Greens. And I take mine basically when I wake up every morning. I don't have to worry about it because you get all the nutrients that you want. It's the best way to ensure that you're going to get all of your vitamins. It's a carbon neutral business, by the way, if that's important to you. It is to a lot of people, and that's good to know as well. I would also note that it is a comprehensive solution to what you need from a supplement routine. Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs right now with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/JCS. Helps me out, guys, if you use that. Not financially, but it lets them know that you heard this ad on my show. And I do take it, and I am vouching for them because I enjoy their product. It's athleticgreens.com/JCS. Check it out. I think you'll note the difference in your life with a simple drink each and every morning to start your day. athleticgreens.com/JCS.
Take advantage of a free spa cover with purchase of your new hot tub. That's around a $400 value, completely free with your purchase. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a penny pool, patios, and spas. Come see us at 2473 Greer Road. Pick out your hot tub and enjoy your free cover. You'll be glad you did.
A cup of Joe, Java, Brew, Go-Go Beans, Brainwater, Liquid Lightning, Wakey Juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Get to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron.
And your head against the wall for 1 hour burns
150 calories. This is Real Talk 93.3, Tallahassee's Real Talk Station. Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Eagles got a lot better. Sweet Jesus. That's what everybody should do. Just draft Georgia dudes that played on that team the last 2 years. You're good. As long as you got somebody to keep them in line, you're going to be all right. They all run fast, hit hard, play well. Character issues be damned. It's the NFL, League of Mercenaries. The Eagles were like, we got this. Go get that other Georgia guy. What do we do today, guys? Get the other Georgia guy. There's another one out there, isn't there?
It was a difficult night in the Lang household for TV space. We've got the two,
We had the Bolts winning.
right? Get the Rangers getting their asses kicked.
Housed.
And then so we would put the draft on during the intermission breaks. And by the time the first game was over, Tampa Bay's victory over Toronto to force a game 6 tomorrow night down in Tampa.
Mhm.
Look out, Leafs. We were around pick 14. So I got to see much of the first round. But some of the fireworks, quote unquote, that happened in the first 10 picks, I missed it in real time as they were covering it.
Well, I'm glad we, along with seemingly everybody else, rightfully first guessed that Arizona's pick would be the one where the
Yep.
fireworks would begin. It
Yep.
made the most amount of sense.
Yeah, because Houston goes back to back. That's wow. How about that? That's crazy.
Yeah. It's funny with this draft because of the number of players or so few players rated as first round slotted, grades. It's awfully hard to look at anybody really outside the first 5 or 6 picks and say, oh, that's not going to work. It's pretty wide open. You're going to wait. Now we should do that all the time anyhow, but it's true that this year it's even harder. There were fewer, he's can't miss, fewer, that guy's going to work some way, somehow as a starter, players in this draft.
It's a little uncomfortable that on every network that covered the draft and all the tertiary footage that they had, that the Buccaneers pick was immediately compared to Aaron Donald. Can everybody slow the hell down? I get they both went to Pitt.
Yeah, they both went to Pitt, and he's lightning quick for his size.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Let's compare him to a generational player,
Right.
a transcendent Hall of Famer to be right now.
There were graphics
You know how it works?
on every network
I know.
about him and Aaron Donald.
I know. You know.
Look, he's not that large. He must be great because he's fast and he went to Pitt. All right. Maybe.
We'll find out.
If it is, that's great.
Well, you and I had the right attitude going into the draft as it pertains specifically to the Bucs, which was we need everything. Take whoever you want. Who'd you fall in love with? Who are you projecting to be a cornerstone for this football team 5 years from now? That guy? All right, good. Good. I have to trust you on this one. You've had good drafts. You've done a good job by and large. So I'm going to give you this. We need a lot of things. You could have gone receiver there. Could have gone defensive tackle, offensive tackle. You decided defensive tackle. Fine.
The Texans played a master class as well because they know at 2 by taking Stroud that many of the suitors for Arizona at 3 as trade partners are gone because the quarterback's off the board.
Yeah.
If they reversed it and they picked the defensive player first, it's not going to work backwards. They'd have to give up more to go get the second quarterback. That was very well done in the first 3 picks.
I will say this. The Will Levis saga did not warm my heart, but Tom, you may or may not have noted the many times that I was very uncertain how he was projected to be a top 10 quarterback. There was a day, I believe, in which we were doing the pregame show, and there was a big game between Kentucky and Ole Miss on, and he lost the game by himself.
Yeah.
By himself.
We were sitting post pregame show.
Mm-hmm.
And we sat down, had a bite at Hotel Indigo, and watched that interception that was unbelievably bad.
But they got the ball back, and then he fumbled down on the 3. to ensure the loss after the opportunity was granted yet again. That's not why I grew to wonder. I grew to wonder is I just didn't see it. I was like, why is everybody going nuts about this kid?
Did you play Kentucky that day on a number?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
I'm always looking for the genesis at this point to be something to do with, I don't know, sporting guy or gal angle. And is that the genesis of the Will Levis hate?
Honestly, I never understood it. I get he's really big and strong. People talk a lot about how muscular he is. And I thought, what does that have to do with playing quarterback? If anything, I'm kind of concerned. The last really big muscular dude that was overly hulkish was Tim Tebow, and he couldn't throw the ball and hit that window. So,
for the folks at home, it's pretty large, this window. I may take a photo.
It'd be
is what
hard
social
to
media is
miss.
for. I'm going to post this. There we go.
Yeah, you got it. Go ahead. That's a big window. I don't know. But the rumor was, again, he had a foot issue. Something wrong with his toe, may need surgery. That'll cause you to fall, I'm sure. But I also think it's because they watched the film and went, not really seeing it.
Don't you worry. That's a notification that the tweet's live. Director Matthews about to show the world how big the window is that you said that Tebow could not hit.
From where I'm sitting.
From where you're sitting, which makes it even better.
Yeah. So I that's actually just a cool picture in general.
It's got layers to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that is accurate. Yeah, that window, the one that is directly in front of me. You ever think, surely this has to happen, and it would be a great bit. It'd be a skit. It'd be funny. That usually those war rooms have several layers of things happening. You've got a guy who's the lead scout on this player that they're considering. He was the one. It's like the scout in basketball. Then there's another guy who's in his camp, in his corner. He believes that scout is right. Then there is the actual GM whose job is on the line, who knows if this doesn't work, I'm going to lose my well-paying job, high-paying job, right? Then there's the owner, possibly meddling. There's the coach who's got and wants, rightfully so, a say in this pick. So you have a lot of interested parties, all very passionate. Football's a passionate game. Usually there's an attorney, a contract guy, right? A salary cap guy, the number that they're going to have to present for this guy at this spot as opposed to another spot, right? All these things are going on in that room. And sometimes it's a bit of a tug of war, and you're wondering who's ultimately got the power. Well, the owner, but maybe the owner has empowered his guys, so he's just going to sit back and watch these dudes all yelling. I always want there to be one guy who is kind of sheepish. He's invested. He, too, is paid well, cares deeply about the process, but he's stood down. He's let these guys do their job. But now the moment is at hand, Tom. And when he's gone home at night, he has told his wife several times, no uncertain terms around dinner, we keep considering this Will Levis kid, and he is ass sorry. I don't know when they're going to come to this logical conclusion that this kid can't play a lick. But hopefully they do. The draft is less than a week away. And he has said this several times, right? And they're nervous, and he's just like, well, surely somebody's just going to say it. I mean, it's obvious. He stinks. And nobody does. And here, we're on the precipice. The countdown is on. And that lead scout and the guy in his corner and the agent are like, yeah, pull the trigger. He's going to change our franchise forever. You'll rue the day that we didn't take Will Levis from Kentucky. And the guys in the corner going, no, make it stop. And he's looking at the owner, and he's giving him the eye. He's trying to tell him, hey, man, you got to step in here. We're about to make a disastrous decision. We're all going to get fired. This isn't it. And the owner is like, no, I've promised I'll let the football people do what football people do. And it's building, and it's building, and it's building. And the GM doesn't know because he's frightened to do anything because his job's on the line.
Yes, right.
He doesn't want to be blamed. It was Mike. Mike swore Levis was Dan Marino. And it's going on, and it's going on, and it's going on. And then finally, at the very end, the guy who's known it all along stands up and goes, I won't do it. I won't let you do it. And he dives and he grabs the dude who's on the phone. Don't you call that piece of garbage. He can't play. You could have a lot of fun with this.
They turn to the person in the room whose function is to call the NFL draft desk to make the selection.
Right.
And he drop kicks that guy out of his office chair.
Or he gives him a different number to the player he wants. Here's his number. Here's his number. Give him a ring.
They got to put in a pin instead of just speak the name over the handset.
Yeah.
Please confirm your selection
here
with
it is.
pound.
Yeah. It turns out that it's Jalen Carter. He picks up. Wait, he's here. I see him. What? Why is Jalen Carter picking up? Because I saved the franchise.
Right. Meanwhile, in Texas, Jerry Jones goes, oh, it happened to somebody else. The same thing. Damn it. Okay.
Yeah.
Rich, I owe you an apology.
Now.
I thought that was just you manipulating the board when we wanted Johnny Manziel. But you know what? It can happen.
It does happen.
You're right.
So here's what I'll say about all that, by the way. Will Levis now guaranteed to be the best quarterback taken in this draft.
Oh, easily.
Now that it's gone down like it has.
What he'll do is he'll exceed expectations and lead the team to a wild card round loss.
Yeah.
We will
in
say,
which he's 15 of 24
right,
for 197, no interceptions, 1 touchdown. They ran the ball well.
He ran for 60 yards and a score as well. 8 carries, 60 yards and a score. And we say, we were wrong. We were wrong.
Look at that kid. He's amazing.
And then he's going to suck the next year.
Right.
And we're saying, you know what? We were right.
We knew it.
It's going to be Jared Goff's career. There it is. That is Jared Goff's career summarized.
Although Jared Goff is on the up. On the up
again. He was always great.
Jared Goff is kicking ass.
I told you the whole time. He was always a good player.
I do. I want a whole bit about this. I want everybody there just to be sitting and looking around at each other. Don't you do it. Don't you. I ain't got nothing else.
Why is Terry Collins here? You got to give us a shot.
You can't draft that kid. He blows. Don't do it. It'd be hilarious. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Law enforcement officials were called in to look for a missing 4-year-old boy yesterday morning. The child is said to be nonverbal and autistic. He was last seen in the area of Beebe Way and Highway 67 in Carabel. According to Franklin County Sheriff A.J. Smith, the boy was found by deputies. A Tallahassee Police Department bloodhound found the boy in the woods behind his residence. The Florida Gaming Control Commission and the Leon County Sheriff's Office teamed up Thursday to crack down on illegal gambling. They served notices to 6 Leon County businesses running illegal gambling operations. 4 of those businesses were concentrated in the Woodville area. The other 2 are off Appalachia Parkway. Some locked their doors before law enforcement could come inside. Others had no manager or employees in sight. Local law enforcement has been trying to crack down on illegal gambling for years. The Florida Gaming Control Commission was just established 2 years ago. It hopes to tackle this issue head on. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Michael Carroll with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Mostly cloudy skies in store for this afternoon with scattered showers and storms developing. Highs working up to 84. For tonight, any storms ending early 65. Some more late day showers and storms on Saturday climbing up to 83. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 73.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Fordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Buddy. Thank you, Pete. Appreciate the contribution there, and I appreciate the P. Hoping that's a Pirates reference, not just your name. Woo! Speaking of the Pirates, everybody had to have loved that story the other night, right? With the Drew Maggi thing. Veteran, finally 33 years old, makes his debut in the bigs.
He is relatively the same age as Freddie Freeman, who's been playing forever.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, the thing was really, really cool. And they had the moment where they lacked the wherewithal not to allow a guy have his moment. And they assessed him the penalty and gave him strike. You didn't see that?
I didn't see that part of it, no.
Yeah, the umpire called him. He walked out. He's nearly in tears. He's making his major league debut after 15 years in the minor leagues.
I believe the PA announcer jumped on that too and announced it was his debut. Yeah.
That is correct. The place was going nuts. He was trying to keep it together. All those years toiling in the minors. And then he goes to the box. The place is going crazy. I mean, even the other team's dugout is like, good for you, man. Because once you've done it, they can never take it away. Major leaguer. You can say it. And everybody gets the magnitude of that moment, except for that umpire. Who, as he stepped back for 1 second to doff his cap and thank everybody before stepping back in the box, was assessed strike one. Guys, we've got to have some malleability here.
Who's the ump?
I don't know who it was, but
I've got about 4 or 5 candidates.
But you got to have some wherewithal to you. It's like the common sense discussion we have and the lack of it when you talk about like in the service industry, where maybe you're supposed to do something one way and then something goes south and it causes a problem, but it's easily fixable if you just use your brain for 2 seconds and say, sorry about that, sir. You know what? I'll be right back. Drinks on the house. We're done here. Like, this has now been reduced to a normal dining experience. Instead, the person says, I can't give you more ice. We're 3 cubes. That's all we can do.
Yeah. Once upon a time on Halifax and Pensacola, this is the worst service I ever had in my life because I understand.
Oh, yeah, I get it. I've been in the service industry as well. Yes.
Guy walks over after not coming to the table for 20 minutes. We hadn't put the order in.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, sorry, my bad. And then he took the order. All right, that's not great. Food comes out. Forgot to bring the drinks. We eat the food. The bill comes. The drinks are on the bill. He goes, oh, my bad. Can I get you like a Coke or something?
Can I get you a Coke?
Can I get you a Coke to go or something? No, man, you can take this off the bill. Are you really not going to? Anyway.
Yeah, right.
Not going to acknowledge that we're going to need to remove these from the bill?
Common sense,
Right.
right? So that umpire, when it happens, everybody looked at him. Both sides were like, really? That's what we're doing here?
Also, my man, where do you buy your gummies? That umpire should have been Phil Cuzzy or CB Bucknor.
Yeah.
Or Angel Hernandez.
I just love, though, I mean, that is something that everybody can get behind. I mean, anytime you see something like that, the minor leagues are, these days especially, are brutal. You get paid nothing. They haven't invested it in the way they used to.
It's at least better now. They got that collectively
They finally,
bargained to like $7,000 for the year or whatever it is.
Finally. But yeah, and I can only imagine the moment that you actually, he said it was the best strikeout he's ever had. So he was happy as a clam.
He should have just stood out there outside of the batter's box and waved, be assessed all three strikes.
Yeah.
I did it. Because it's an 8-1 ball game at the time, right? I believe.
Yeah.
He could be like Pete Weber. I did it. I did it.
Oh, man. It is odd for your host to be tuning in on a nightly basis to an 18-8 Pittsburgh Pirate Club.
Wow.
That continues to dominate. And they're not just winning. I mean, these are ass kickings. They should have swept the Dodgers. The only game they lost, as I said yesterday, was the game they were up 7-2, and they lost 8-7. Then they pasted the Dodgers' ass the next day 8-1, and then they won 6-2.
By definition, at the bare minimum, at 18-8 on April the 28th, the Pirates are going to be interesting and relevant in the standings through at least June 1st. They might make it to your birthday. They probably will, but at bare minimum, they could have the worst month in the world, and May is still going to be interesting.
Maybe. I've been scarred. I've been scarred over the years. I can't. One of my brothers and I every morning text when we first get up. He roots for the Pirates, and we text each other about it. And he's always like, "This is amazing. We're good, Jeff. We're good." I'm like, "Oh, hey. We're off to a good start. Let's say that. Let's say that." And he'll come, "No, they're good. Look at the plus minus totals. Look at the numbers. We're good. We're real legit." Stop it. Stop saying that out loud. The baseball gods can hear you.
Hey, man, I didn't say the All-Star break. I said at minimum this next month of May.
Yeah, May, but we're interesting in May.
Bare minimum. And that's a bonus. You already got a free month. Look at this. You should send an apology letter to the owner.
Oh, good Christ, no. But he did do that's the added part about the 18-8 start is that they did sign Brian Reynolds to a huge deal.
You got a big Alonzo Mourning energy going on right now.
Oh yeah, I'm
this
doing
piece of well.
I mean, they did, and Key Brian Hayes the year before. I was like, okay,
what's his story? Is he hurt?
No, he's just not very good.
Oh.
He's an incredible defender. He's arguably the best defensive third baseman in the National League. He's sensational. He can't hit at all.
Could he hit the window?
He can hit the window.
He could hit the window in front of you?
Yeah, he's coordinated. He can hit the window. But but he can't hit, especially not for a corner infielder. He can't hit a lick. He does. He is a vacuum cleaner over there, though. If you hit it over there, you're out. He's going to make the play. And there's a lot of plays he makes where the guy is like halfway to first, like, are you kidding? So, there's real value to that. It's just.
As long as you only have like one of those.
Yeah. I do need you to hit every now and again. He led off with a home run the other day against the Dodgers. Maybe I'll leave him alone.
Tough love Cameron, Key Brian Hayes.
Yeah, 2 fingers, buddy. Come on. Swing the stick. But really short time left in this hour. I do want to point out, and I don't want to jinx him, but slowly but surely it's been happening lately, and he's a Knoll. So I'm going to bring this up, and he tees off later today. Vincent Norman is starting to make inroads on the tour.
Okay.
So he's a weird player right now, but he'll make a cut, and he'll look good and be like around the top 25. And then he will throw up the next week 78, 77. You're like, well, Jesus, Vincent.
Literally throw up.
Yeah. You're like, what are we doing out here? But they're becoming more spread out, those bad rounds. And the more consistently good rounds that see you make the weekend are becoming the norm. Vincent Norman is currently 20th place in Mexico. He went 4 under yesterday to start. He tees off later today.
Well,
we may have another guy, man.
Look, let me be brutal for a moment. If you're going to be anything on the PGA Tour, this is an event that you need to make the cut, and you need to finish in the top 30, period.
Yeah, you need to do well. Yeah.
They've got 2 top 50 players in the world in this event. Come on, Vincent. If not now, when? Let's go.
Well, I mean, it's a weird event because of the grass that they play on is not grass that you see all that often. It is in very warm weather places where they're near the water.
Yep.
It's the kind of grass that survives there. Most players, I mean, it's a weird deal putting on this. But he's played well. And you're right. Tony Finau is there. John Rahm is there. Gary Woodland's there. He's playing well again. So we'll count Gary in that list of good players that are there. But you're right. It's not a veritable who's who of the PGA Tour. It's not. Matthew's favorite golfer is there, and he's on the borderline of maybe, it looks like he's going to make the cut. I know how happy Matthew will be. Young On has made it. Ben On is going to make the cut. That is Matthew's favorite golfer on the tour.
I wonder who spent more money on Ben On in Ben On's career, Ben On or Matthew? And I'm going to go with Matthew.
Well, that was my fault. I suggested him, and then he picked a ball. Well, the thing is, he had a good first day, and then he threw up an 80-something and cost Matthew all the money. All of it. Because his other golfers were good. On just cost him dearly. Hour 2 forthcoming. Stay with.
Neighborhood Bar and Grill just got a whole lot closer to home. You can now order delicious Smitty's Tap House and Grill for delivery directly to your doorstep. Just visit Smitty'sTapHouse.com, click the Order Online button, and choose pickup or delivery. Enjoy Smitty's famous handmade pretzel with beer cheese, juicy pub burger, or even the amazing schnitzel sandwich, delivered fresh right to your doorstep. Support local and order online today for takeout or delivery at Smitty'sTapHouse.com, where everybody knows his name.
Hey, this is Dr. Ryan Finn at Finn Chiropractic. If you have a pain in the neck, bring them to Finn Chiropractic because neck pain, low back pain, headaches, numbness, and tingling can make your significant other or family member very irritable.
This is Dr. Shannon Lord. We developed the Phenomenal Health Exam to get to the cause of your problem. You can schedule your appointment at finnchiro.com. FENNCHIRO.com.
Whether the pain is in your neck or someone else's, come to Finn Chiropractic.
Because your chiropractor loves you and there's nothing you can do about it.
Give your business a facelift with a modern, consistent, creative brand overhaul from Curiosity Marketing Group. These days, it's not enough for your business just to have a standard website or a Google listing to reach your customers. Your business needs to stand out with eye-popping branding, modern web development, and strong marketing. And it takes a team to pull it all together. Words and websites matter. At Curiosity, we make the most of yours. Find out more at curiositymg.com.
I used to fight almost on a daily basis working on my business website. I'm a pretty smart guy, but I could never get it to function the way I needed it to, and I was losing customers because of it. That's when I called Curiosity Marketing. They listened, they understood, we collaborated, and in the end, they delivered beyond my highest expectations. Now, I can barely keep up with the work. They say the future belongs to the curious, and now I'm excited about the future of my business.
Find out more at curiositymg.com.
This is Patty Wilson.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're ready.
He's recording.
Why are you always saying your last name? It's Patty and Scott. Everybody knows
know that.
Patty and Scott.
I don't know. This is Patty Wilson. This is. I am Patty Wilson.
What is the idea behind said promo?
It's for Patty's Playhouse. We're on Patty's Playhouse Saturdays at 11. Tune in. That's stupid. Just tune in. Saturdays at 11. Patty Wilson, Patty's Playhouse. House talk with a happy ending.
Each and every time.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Alabama's Bryce Young, the minus 2,000 favorite to be the number one overall pick of the NFL draft in Kansas City today. The Carolina Panthers have the number one pick. Florida quarterback Anthony Richardson over under draft position bet 7.5 picks, and that is shaded to the over -160. The sportsbooks believe that Richardson will go 8 or higher. The team to draft Richardson on the board, Seattle the favorite at 3-1. The Seahawks had the number 5 pick of the draft. NHL Stanley Cup playoffs today. The Tampa Bay Lightning look to remain alive. They're a $1.40 dog at Toronto.
Sign up now for your free VSiN subscription at vsin.com/subscribe.
For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
Welcome back to the quickest podcast ever, brought to you by Kohl's. Today's topic, Mother's Day. If our moms taught us anything, it's how to find a great deal.
So true. That's why I hit up Kohl's Friends and Family Sale. I saved 20% on gifts for my mom, like a pair of PJs. Plus, I got Nike sneakers and her favorite Sephora find.
She's one lucky lady.
She deserves the world. Hopefully these gifts are the next best thing.
Great gifts and great savings. Your mom will be so proud.
Select styles. Offer ends April 30th. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
Progressive presents Precious Moments.
Yeah, I caught my first fish, Dad.
Great job, buddy. He's a beauty.
Thanks for taking me fishing. Love you, Dad.
I love you too, son.
The exchange you just heard didn't actually happen, but it could. Bundle your home and other vehicles with Progressive, and you could use the savings to make sure the boat's always ready for those magical father-son moments. Who knows, maybe someday he'll actually like fishing. So keep the dream alive and the savings coming with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to tread water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service, right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mndlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Did you know that when you order food delivery to third parties like Uber Eats and Bite Squad, local restaurants lose up to 30% of their own revenue, and you're actually sending your money to corporate bank accounts in California? Well, now you can truly support our locally owned restaurants by ordering directly from foodiestakeout.com. Choose from delicious options like El Jalisco, Smitty's Tap House, Hangar 38, Jerry's Cafe, and many more. With Foodies Takeout and Delivery, we can actually put our money where our mouth is. Order your next fresh meal today at foodiestakeout.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Watching. Appreciate you doing that too on Warchant TV. Good to be with you. We did talk about it last hour, and actually kind of in succession here. We've got our thoughts on the players that have gone the way of the portal. And one of those, the latest to do so, was Duke Cooper and Bishop Thomas. I should bring up both of them, I guess. Since we didn't talk about them too much last hour, we will hear. And Tom and I this morning recorded a video for each. That's on the website. We'll play it here this hour, assessing that situation. It looks like for now, they've largely been out of the woods, has Florida State, when it comes to big time losses. I don't consider Bishop Thomas a big loss at all, and same for Duke Cooper. If Micah Pittman were healthy and fully able to play this year in a way that was commiserate to what we saw a year ago, then I think you do miss him as a punt returner, and you miss his toughness. I know he was a good teammate and a hard worker. I don't think he's a dynamic player. I don't think he's a game changer, but he would have aided your ability on special teams, and he does block. He really does block and plays with an attitude. You always welcome that on your roster. So kind of looking at that on balance, do they lose an elite difference maker? No. Do they lose a good football player who's tough? They do. They do. And we went through all of that last hour. So if you missed our thoughts on Micah Pittman and whether or not he goes, we're still remains to be seen. It seems like he's as good as gone. But as far as the other guys go, I think we should almost just jump right into it, Tom, so that way we can kind of react to that and then also talk about the draft and some other things here. But I think you want to start with Duke Cooper, since we had that news first and foremost, and we didn't get a chance to go through it. You want to wait until the next segment?
Director has it, so if you want to do that now, we can. We are prepared.
By the way, let me give you this, because we don't touch on this in the discussion that we had, and I will get to that in just a minute. So, if you're Deion Sanders and your roster is, well, first of all, by choice, completely depleted, right? You don't have enough players, and you want to flip it, and you're going to do what he's doing, which is to drastically overhaul. I mean, drastically. You're taking a real risk. We'll see. This may fail miserably, may succeed. Time will tell. I've given my thoughts on Deion over the years, many times. I'm not a fan. But I understand his situation, and I understand what he's trying to do. You are, based on the videos we've seen and the play we've seen at Colorado, you are better off grabbing cast-offs that aren't going to play at Florida State or marginal talents at Florida State. Yeah, I don't have any resentment about that. It's less than ideal. But if you want to offer, a Derek McClendon, let's say, well, you're better at Colorado. He might be the best player you have.
It's a really good move for them. And Brendan Gantz, I think it's a great fit. That's a perfect fit. That kind of a situation. Gant would have been a situational and special teams
he'll be
player
a
here.
Starter through and through there. Yeah.
Good luck to him. Like, I hope that all works out, and I hope
it does for the kids. I don't care about Deion. I hope they lose every game. But as far as,
I'm talking about the kids in this particular circumstance.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, for Gantz, if you were going to leave for more opportunity, here it is. That checks the boxes at Colorado. McClendon the same. If you were going to leave for more opportunity, that checks the boxes. Now, if McClendon was trying to leave for more cash, I don't know about that.
Okay, so that's another side story. Like, he has to take a pay cut to go to Colorado. So that's what allegedly
I
is
would
the case.
think.
Well,
yeah.
So, it's not a great situation there. I mean, they're going to lose a ton of games.
It's just outside of his inner circle, it feels like Deion is the type of guy who would offer barter and like free Prime gear to guys. No, I'm not kidding. Like, there are certain dudes that you would think there's always a catch. It's like, here's a bicycle. He's got the Prime bikes that he rides around the coach's offices.
Yeah.
We'll give you 10 minutes.
I'll give you 10 Prime shirts.
We'll give you 10 minutes out of every 4 episodes where you could be interviewed and promote your brand.
Right.
Well, yeah, coach, but what about the cash?
Oh, no, we don't have any of that now.
But time is money, young man.
Yeah.
Time is money.
He'll
and
sell
that's
him.
why I'm giving you 10 minutes on my show. Don't you want to be on my show?
Just like when he was, when he was doing the Preacher game. Or Prime Academy or any of the other nonsensical. Yeah. Anyhow, so we'll see. But
if you want to know about the money, it's $5. $5. Right here.
And a chance to expand your brand.
That's right.
But what I don't begrudge is obviously looking at your own roster and saying, we don't have quality players here. Anybody that's going to be second, third string, somebody in a rotation, special teams that's at Florida State, Florida, Miami, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, any other school in the country not named Colorado, I'll take them. Because that roster was the pits of the earth. So you got to kind of do that. I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, we had to a degree. They have to a much larger degree. Much larger degree. You need them you need them by the dozen.
Oh, buddy. It's really remarkable. If we're having a different discussion about Colorado and not Deion, we're just talking about programs and how far they've fallen and
how quickly can they get back?
How quickly they can get back and the path and all that. It is remarkable to think about how far. I mean, because I'm 51. I remember Colorado splitting a national championship. I remember that program going toe-to-toe for a short period of time with Nebraska. I remember them mattering. And when you look at that roster, holy moly, it is hard to fathom how bad a football team they've become, how bad a program they've become, and the task at hand for him. I don't think he'll succeed. I think it's too big a mountain to climb. But if he's going to, he's going to have to early, Tom.
Well, it wouldn't be this year.
No, of course not.
Success
no, they can't
this
win
year.
this
He
year,
could brand 3 or 4 wins as a rousing success this year.
Huge success.
Yeah.
If they win 3 games, the Colorado fan base should be happy.
There's no downside for him. I don't think there's a risk unless he makes some sort of faux pas in front of the camera. But he is keenly aware of all times that the camera is on. It usually always is. But there's really no downside here. If it doesn't work for Deion at Colorado, it was too far gone. It was too big of a mess. He could spin it and he can move on to the next gig, whatever it is, maybe lower, but then succeed there and then give it another shot. Like I don't think this ends it if it's an abject failure. Unless there's got to be scandal to go with it.
Well,
there's got to be scandal to go with it.
Probably will. Always is. I would say I don't know that he'll ever get another big-time gig if he fails there. Now, one thing I would say, at least in the coaching ranks, one thing I will say is what I've never understood. We first guessed this. The thought was he had a chance to go to either USF or Colorado.
Yeah.
USF, Prime.
Yeah.
That's the job. You know how much talent there is in the Tampa? Well, first of all, the state of Florida, but Tampa, and the reputation of USF is much, much greater.
Yeah, he would know, too.
Oh, he does know. Yeah, and he has connections with people in the state. I mean, come on.
How many years was he a part of the UA All-American game as a guest instructor and a coach? And that was met with rousing, rave reviews.
It blew me away. I couldn't believe that he took the Colorado job. I know he wanted to be a Power 5 coach, and I guess that was ego.
Like temporarily
but,
Power 5.
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
USF is not any good, but they are a vastly superior program and have been for some time to Colorado.
But again, win 3 or 4 games this year, and you have your launching pad for your pitch for the 2024 class. You don't have to do much. You win. Let's say you win 3 games and you're competitive with TCU in week 1 and it goes in the fourth quarter. Like, how about this, folks? It's 24-21 in the fourth quarter with TCU and Colorado. Like, mission accomplished. Now, you have to pay it off at some point. But if you're trying to make a pitch, a compelling one, and he's already very good at that, very successful at that.
He's a PR guy, yeah.
Right. All you need is 3 or 4. That's it. So the bar's not terribly high, and a guy like McClendon is going to help you get there. A guy like Brendan Gant's going to help you get there. And if he takes any, let's just say he took all of the guys that left Florida State. Let's just say he did, the McClains and Trayshawn Wards, all these guys. You might be able to put together a 3-4 win campaign with the guys that we run off now.
You could maybe do that. By the way, they open with TCU, as you said, September the 2nd. The next week they play Nebraska. Then they play Colorado State. Then they go to Oregon. Ooh.
Yeah, it gets
I shudder to think the score of that game.
Difficult as the season goes on. I think it gets worse and worse.
Well, after they have Oregon, they go play Southern Cal. Yeah. Name your score game there. Then they're on the road at Arizona State. They host Stanford, so maybe they're on the road at UCLA, who's playing a lot better these days. They're home to Oregon State, home to Arizona, on the road at Washington. They end the year at Utah.
Yeah.
They might lose by 100.
So it's September. You got to get a couple of those wins in September. It's that stretch of
it's
Nebraska, Colorado State, right?
Yeah, Nebraska's further along. They got to beat Colorado State, Stanford. I don't see another win.
Yeah. 3 or 4, and you can hold a parade.
4. You should be held on high. If they get 4.
But don't worry, he'll do it himself.
Oh. This was our conversation about Duke Cooper's departure. We had this earlier today, actually just before the start of the show. So here's what we said about that. He's gone. He's hit the transfer portal. This is an interesting one, and it's going to sound crass of me, Tom, but I don't care. He wasn't very good, and his play at the end of his freshman year gave us so much hope, and then we were left bereft of hope, as I like to say, because he was terrible last year. Really couldn't even hardly play him, and I don't think he was adapting well to being a safety. He's a backup safety, by the way, and it doesn't appear that he wants to play safety, which would maybe fuel the reason for why he's entered the portal. Again, that's not like being ruthlessly cold or uncaring to the kid as a person, but I'm just talking about, I put on a GM hat when I look at our roster, Florida State's roster, and I remove personalities and nice interactions, bad interactions, whatever they might be that either I've had personally or we've had in the media with a player. And I just think, how does this player aid Florida State's effort to win a national championship? And the answer in this case is very little, very little. Florida State will not miss Duke Cooper at all. So that's my assessment of it.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people who might disagree. I wish the young man well, but suffice to say, we certainly have to address it. And I think the only way to talk, expound maybe further on this is to say it's just disappointing that he was not able to transition and take the next step. That was certainly something that we thought possible at the end of his freshman year.
Yeah, the first thing I'd say is he would have been a long shot to be a big-time player for you in the secondary at this point. If he was, it could have been something very good very quickly. It just didn't take off in spring. Like the adjustment period, it wasn't plug and play. He's an answer. Here's the immediate solution. He did have a skill set that you really wanted to harness and use. But if his heart is not in a move to safety, and he didn't take to it all that well compared to the competition in spring, then yeah, you could see easily this is probably the best path for both parties. The question I would have is, though, his position coach. Did his new position coach, new defensive backs coach for Florida State, Patrick Surtain, come in and say, not going to work? Was it a different voice in the room that helped usher this move along? Or was it just apparent by play and by things that had nothing to do with a change at that position coach deal on the defensive side of the ball? Because sometimes these things are new coach, new eyes, not going to work for me, not my type of player. And so therefore it speeds up the process. But it could just be coincidental that you have a new set of eyes and this move comes right behind it.
Yeah, when you think about guys that are coming into the program or just arrived in the program and whose futures are pretty bright, KJ Kirkland comes to mind, Tom. And, you think about a kid who's a backup to Akeem Dent, Shaheem Brown and Travis Jay and KJ Kirkland. And I don't know, I just think big picture, Duke Cooper, who, as you said, I don't think his heart was in the move, really was going to factor in those position battles. And so at some point, you move it on down the road. If he's unhappy, it's not transitioning well, new coach comes in, doesn't see the fire, doesn't see the focus, doesn't see the production, decides, we could probably move along here. Florida State, we'll see. Are they contenders to bring in somebody in the portal? Now you have a freed up spot. You might still be. We thought they might go out and get somebody in the portal at the position anyhow, partly because Duke Cooper wasn't transitioning at all. It's one of the reasons. You're also not solidified with your other starter there. I get that. Shaheem Brown needed to be more consistent in the spring to allay fears about the position. But I do believe Shaheem Brown is going to continue to get better and have a good year. That's just me personally. I think he kind of played through some things in the spring. But, you may need another guy here now, and we thought they might go that route in the portal anyhow.
Yeah, a couple of things there. Number one, the move seems strange on its face, and we learned about it on the Jeff Cameron show when Adam Fuller appeared and talked about the move in February. Might have been maybe early March. But at any rate, that's the moment we realized it, and it was a kind of moment because Akeem Dent had already announced he's coming back. Shaheem Brown was already tabbed in the same interview by Adam Fuller as a primetime player, one of the better players in the country in the eyes of the defensive coordinator. So you're telling me that this guy's going to come in with like a 79th year senior and a kid that Adam Fuller has circled as an impact player at safety. So he's a long shot to win a starting job. That's how it felt to me. The other thing I'd say, just as it pertains to what's next for Florida State, are you sure you want to put all your eggs in the Shaheem Brown basket? I know what the payoff could be. I know what his athleticism suggests he could be. But the consistency factor, what you're talking about, I don't think it's as locked and loaded as Jamie Robinson returning last year was.
Of course not. No, agreed.
So I think in short, and you've already said it, but I think in short, this fortifies the need to go into the portal and find a veteran solution at safety. You have some guys that are coming down the pike in a Kirkland. I thought Quindarius Jones was excellent in camp, but he might profile more as a corner than a safety. We'll see. But you have some younger guys that could be the answer in the next year or two. But I think this now fortifies the need. If you were doing and arguing before about defensive end or linebacker or safety in the portal, I think safety now climbs up another notch, maybe to the top, and saying that's the priority position for the collectives.
Yeah, and I don't know if down the line a Conrad Hussey or somebody like that is going to, he's 6'1", almost 200 pounds already. What he's going to be, I don't know either. But there's a lot of excitement about some of these guys coming down the pike and their ability to maybe do both. Certainly, we all feel that way with Kirkland, who at some point maybe a linebacker, his body type is so broad and the added weight he can put on. I think you're right. I think we're going to see them go get a safety. I think they'll look at linebacker. Nothing's really changed here as we continue to do this day to day and monitor the portal, the comings and goings of players, what influences Florida State's needs, obviously. But I think we went into this right fresh off of spring saying, well, they need probably a defensive end. They probably need a safety. Probably maybe you want to find a linebacker, certainly. I don't think that's really changed. So it'll be interesting over the next few days to see what they do. Yes, this may have expedited that process, though.
Correct. And just for clarity's sake, for those of you that might be new to the transfer portal discussion, there is a period of time in which you can enter your name, and that is closing. That is closing rapidly. Unless you're going to finish with your degree in a month at a different institution, this is kind of it if you want to be in the portal. But that doesn't mean that Florida State has to make their decisions by the end of this window. They could have all summer to take a look at the potential candidates and then go make a play for them. So the deadline is for the player, not the institution, coming up here in a few days. That's just an important thing to remember, that if you're worrying and panicking on Monday, they didn't get an answer. It's not like that at all. For the university and for the program, they've got time to assess their needs. I just think I'll reiterate one more time that because of this move, it only underscores that safety is that much more important. We already knew it was a position we should target. I think it now becomes the top position you should target.
Yeah, and Florida State might very well be seeking the aid of a grad transfer when this is all said and done. It would not be shocking at all. A one-off that is a win-win situation for both parties, a plug-and-play guy that has proven it at the Power 5 level but wants to finish off somewhere maybe elevated like Florida State to end out their career, or maybe they're just not seeing the kind of time they want to see in the rotation somewhere else. But you've got film on him. You've seen him play big-time college football. In fact, I think that's probably the route they go at a position like safety, is some sort of grad transfer that you could grab before this is all said and done. So a pertinent point you just made there, Tom. It's not the deadline for Florida State's football program. Right. It is for the player, however. All right, don't forget, like and subscribe, warchant.com, Warchant TV. You'll want to be notified anytime that little bell rings and says, hey, man, there's some news going down. Let's watch a video of it. We got you covered always. My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinking. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Motorcycle accident? Call Basic Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
At Pinch A Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas, it's prime time hot tub season. And after a long, stressful day, there's nothing like soaking in a hot tub with all that steam. And it has lots of great health benefits, too. Pinch A Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas is your true hot tub headquarters. Save today on the hot tub of your dreams at prices you can afford. Come and shop our 12,000 square foot showroom and find the right model for you. With over 50 hot tubs in stock, you're sure to find the one that's just right. And for a limited time, take advantage of a free spa cover with purchase of your new hot tub. That's around a $400 value, completely free with your purchase. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch A Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come see us at 2473 Greer Road. Pick out your hot tub and enjoy your free cover. You'll be glad you did.
A cup of Joe, Java, Brew, Go-Go Beans, Brainwater, Liquid Lightning, Wakey Juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roastmaster himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Get to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
Choose Hearth and Patio for custom fireplaces, maintenance, outdoor grills, kitchens, fire pits, lighting, and so much more. Check out all of Hearth and Patio's options online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, they keep the home fires burning.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to
live their best life and celebrate every moment. When you support St. Jude, you help give kids with cancer around the world that chance. Together, we can save more lives. Finding cures, saving children. Visit stjude.org.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Now, we've already addressed Micah, and we talked about, I don't think we're going to run the Bishop Thomas conversation, Tom. Really, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but that's a real no impact on Florida State whatsoever. It's just, it's a note that Bishop Thomas is no longer on the roster. If you want to see that, go to warchant.com, go to Warchant TV. You can find the video. Tom and I talked about it earlier today. My thought was he's one of the guys that I would have asked to leave. And I think there are other guys that I'd still ask to leave. I'd try to find more room here. I think there's some other players that are never going to play. Now,
Yeah,
you got to be tasteful. I'm not, if a kid's working hard, going to class, doing everything he's supposed to do, and he's just not good enough, I'd be brutally honest with him, letting him know that he's never going to see the field. There's very little chance for him to play. And if he says, I love it here, coach, I've always wanted to be a Nole, I'll continue to show up at practice and meetings, do everything I can to prove you wrong. Okay, young man, you do that. I'm proud of you. That's fine. There's nothing. It's not his fault. Somebody else brought him in, or we brought him in, and
this coaching staff did, maybe
whatever it might be, right? That's on us. So there's only so much you can do. Being honest is first and foremost.
The thing about the Pittman deal, just to rehash it for a moment, is if he indeed follows through, fair to say at this point we expect him to move on.
Yeah.
That would be a bit of a needle mover in terms of the money that you could then reinvest somewhere else. I look at this very much like a dollars and cents situation of how much money was Bishop Thomas worth to the collectives? Probably not much. Omarion Cooper, that might be a decent amount. McClendon, probably a decent amount.
Right.
Malik McLean. All right. If Micah Pittman was to go, it's not nothing that you're getting back and able to use. Within whatever
purpose.
Whatever budget that they have, whatever it is. I'm sure they're trying to stick to the dollars and cents of their budget. Every dollar that you get back to be able to reinvest in somebody else is very useful. It is an asset to you. This is the year that we're trying to make it all happen. So go get you a grad transfer. If they put their name in next month, whenever it is, you've got more dollars. But we're waiting for Pittman to make that move. And if and when he does, that gives you a chance to go after maybe a little higher class of a prospect.
Yeah, I'm excited about the possibility of going out and getting, and I don't know that it'll happen. A lot of things have to line up, as you say, but you got a chance to bring in an impactful linebacker or safety, somebody who's played at a high level with the newfound funds, if you will. Then all right, that's a good thing. That's a affects your team this year kind of thing. We know, and we've talked about quite a bit, that this is a year where you do need to make hay. I mean, you have a veteran-laden club with a loaded offensive line, deep backfield, superstar at quarterback. You got what you need to win a lot of games. Got to cash it in. And if you have an opportunity to seriously upgrade a segment group like linebacker or safety or even defensive end, you got to do it.
Haven't had this conversation with people in the know, specifically in this way. But if you looked at it like it was an NFL salary cap and cap room deal from year to year, you go to capfriendly.com. If you're a hockey fan, there's a football one too. I forget what it is.
Yeah.
Overthecap.com.
Oh, yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah.
If you look at our usage this year, it is what it is. I'm sure it's close to 100%. The roster retention being what it was this offseason. Next year, you're going to have a lot of room under the cap. You think about all these big names that are going, all of them. Jordan, Trey, Jared Verse, Fabian Lovett, Bethune, Johnny Wilson. I mean, that's a lot of big-time players that are going to be moving on to the next level, next part of their career, next phase. We're going to have a lot of stuff to play with, a lot of dollars and cents. You don't even have to say potato chips anymore. We're going to have a lot of money to play with this offseason to go remake the roster on the fly with the high school players that we've brought in already and are developing.
Luckily, and again, I think you want to build to this place. Luckily, you've done a better job in the high school ranks. We think you're going to continue to do a better job in the high school ranks. You'd like to build the core of your roster, not through the portal, but rather through the high school ranks. Not saying you can't continue to utilize the portal. You have to. But if you have a deeper base of players that you brought in and developed over time, when guys do move on, like you're talking about, you have a guy waiting in the wings who's been in the system, who's learned from that coach, who understands the playbook and is ready to take his next step, and not having to go out there fishing against everybody else in the portal for a one-off or a 2-year rental would be ideal. That's where we want to get to. And they have a real good chance this year with a bang-up class, I think, coming in.
Yeah, continue to do on the field what it looks like we're going to do and pay it off. This has got a shot to be a top 5 class. I mean, that's me, the non-recruiting expert, just looking at the way it's shaping up now. Some of the kids that have us as finalists or top 3s that are still visiting us, you already made the move of getting a 5-star consensus tight end from Georgia to flip back to Florida State. You're in on a safety, a corner, some more rush ends, more receivers. And as you continue to win, it's just going to grow. It's going to be contagious. Croman Hawk shut it down. Camp Davis, I believe, has shut it down, but I forget.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. Yep.
Yeah, man, this has got the chance. Some of those recruiting visit weekends, we talk about those, and it used to be kind of a punchline. It's like, well, who's coming here just for the free trip in the last few seasons? And now it's all right, who's going to be here for the Miami weekend? Because when we play Miami in November, if we're in the top 5 and we're eyeing an ACC championship game berth and perhaps a playoff berth, you bring all those kids here together for that atmosphere, dude, you're going to get some more yeses that you didn't expect to get as long as you win between now and then.
Man, I wonder what it's all going to look like. We've gotten to a place where, because what happened with Travis Hunter, because NIL exists, people can openly, it takes one guy that somebody falls in love with at another program and a, irrational but rich booster, and you lose a top flight recruit. It happens just like that. So recruiting's now, and even roster retention and all that is now sort of a day by day, wait and see, hold your breath kind of deal for fans. As we begin to win 10 games last year, minimum, we hope 10 this year. Now you're stringing together these seasons that you're talking about. I don't know. You and I never had a love for recruiting. We had an understanding of the importance of recruiting, but we didn't have a passion for it. There are people who are recruitniks that love it.
No, man, I stepped on the field for one junior day to cover it.
And that was enough.
Outlet.
Yeah.
I mean,
But what I'll say is I wonder if our curiosity or enthusiasm around big gets will ever come back. Because there's always the caveat. There's always the other shoe to drop. There's always that, doesn't mean anything. Like, we just had the number 1 tight end in the country decommit from Georgia and say he's coming to Florida State. It's a very big deal. Georgia churns out tight ends. I mean, backup tight ends at Georgia go to the league in the first or second round. And you got a guy that they were really excited to have. And now, and again, I just did it. For now, you got him verbally committed to Florida State. And it's at a position that I was for years wanting us to get better at. We've now done a good job of filling some of those holes, but I don't know that I felt that much other than, all right, good for us. I mean, I couldn't even really get excited. And I wonder if winning a bunch of games will change that. And the reason I say that is those kids, it seems to me, would be less apt to want to walk away from a prominent, annually successful program.
Yeah, agreed. And I'll poke a little bit of fun at my Major League Baseball team. You don't want to be the Mets. In general, you don't. But you don't want to be the Mets of the last 2 years that have been in first place for 90+% of the season.
And then
they're
pieces.
not.
Yeah.
And then they don't win the division.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to win 101 games and lose the tiebreaker. And that's what it feels like when you lose to a competitive program like a Georgia at the 11th hour. And they got to be prepared for that. What's the 11th hour price of this kid going to be?
Yeah.
And will it be more expensive or less expensive because we're successful as a program?
Well, that's a tough question to answer because you're now swimming in the waters of a Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State at that point.
Right.
And, man, that's where you want to be. But it is going to require a lot more. And that's why if Ingram were sitting here, he'd say, that's why you sign up and join the battle's in right now. Many tears for those that want to support the moment that Florida State has to go to battle with the likes of Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, and Alabama. Every dollar helps. That's how
it's
true.
It's how it needs to work. And I just wonder, if he would answer it on the record. If he was going to, he would do it for you. But do you have an emergency fund for the last 48 hours of recruiting? Because you're going to get a kid that you fully expected to be in and locked in to come back and say, well, what can you do for me now? I know we all said that we're going to get here. Well, what kind of cherry on top can you make for me? because in Athens they're saying this, or in Tuscaloosa they're saying that.
Yeah. Ugh,
You got to have a budget for that, I would think.
that's a toughie. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Storm damage was reported in Liberty County Thursday as a result of apparent tornado activity. Early reports indicate that the storm packed winds at least 100 miles an hour. It was confirmed that a tornado hit the Hosford area, resulting in large debris and downed power lines. The Tallahassee Police Department is looking for a $9.5 million increase to its operating budget for the fiscal 2024 year. City leaders met Wednesday to discuss the proposed increase in funds, which TPD says would go to hiring 20 new officers and investing in advanced technology. The proposal would be funded by raising the property tax rate for city residents from 4.1% to 4.72%. Though no formal vote was taken, Mayor John Daly, City Commissioner Curtis Richardson, and Mayor Pro Tem Diane Williams-Cox expressed support for the increase, which will be put to an official vote at the end of September. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Chance for scattered thunderstorms this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. High of 83, southwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance for scattered thunderstorms tonight. Lows level off around 66. Partly cloudy skies. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 83. Overcast skies. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 81.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
This is Tyler from Bear No Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere.
Save big time in the new year and get $1,200 off select new units.
Online at BearNoAC.com.
Keeping you comfortable is what Barry does.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
That buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially if it's your first home. You're worried about location, school zones, square footage, inspections, insurance, loan approvals, interest rates, and, of course, the price. Buying a home could be the most significant investment you've ever made. There's good news. We got friends to help you out with that. It's our friends at Legendary Home Loans. They're on your side. They're in your corner. They're going to bat for you. What other cliche can I work in there? And Young from Legendary Home Loans can help first-time home buyers get up to $25,000. Now, that's serious for your down payment. For first responders, veterans, teachers, military, and healthcare workers. And that's not all. Shannon is an expert in navigating the home loan terrain, and you can trust that he's going to get the most competitive interest rates for you, guide you through the process every step of the way. He'll also get your closing costs reduced. It's the Hometown Heroes program at Legendary Home Loans. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That is 844 FSU loan. Go to FSUhomeloans.com and ask for Shannon Young. I did some improvising there. It was very good.
I would have never known.
I cracked up laughing last night. The Alabama defensive end stud, Will Anderson. Did you see his interview when you weren't watching early?
No, early I wasn't. Yeah.
So you did see later on how all the kids, all the guys that got drafted, they would put the hat on, the two-way mirror. And
that
then
building that they're walking from,
beautiful,
stunning
train station, Kansas City. It's gorgeous.
Wow.
Yeah. They did a great job. The setting was fantastic.
Yeah.
But this thing is so orchestrated now. The whole thing. And everybody is set where they're supposed to be, and the cameras are all set. And then, of course, they all go speak to my girl from ESPN there afterwards.
You watched the ESPN version?
I did. I went back and forth. But
Melissa Stark was doing the interviews for NFL Network.
She's also solid.
Yeah.
Great interviewer. But I went back and forth. And of course, was watching the hockey, watching the Bolts. And so I was more interested in the Bolts than I was the draft, but they're both important. So I had the laptop up and I had the iPad going. And then I also put on Boston taking care of Atlanta as they should have. And the bum, Trey Young, went 1 of 13 in the second half when they really needed him. And now they're home. So there that was. Now, I was doing all that stuff, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I noticed in the interviews, the question that would get asked is, how do you think you're going to fit there? What is it you think they saw in you? Those kinds of questions. He was awesome. It made me love him instantly. He was very modest in the beginning. And he said, I just want to thank my family and everybody helped me get to this place. This is a dream come true. I want to thank Alabama. And he's like giving credit to all the other people. And then she asks, what is it you think that they saw in you to make this pick here? And he goes, well, they just saw how truly special I am. Yes, I loved it. My wife and I both cracked up. I was like, that's like the listeners of the Jeff Cameron Show. They know. They can see how truly special I am. What are you going to do? Sometimes you just have to say it. You just don't find talent like that, A lot of guys can kind of put together a show, but it's not the same. Will Anderson's like, just want you to know they saw how truly special I am. I'm rooting for that guy from here on out.
What do you want me to say?
It was it was fantastic. As soon as he said it, I was like, that is awesome. He meant it, and it somehow didn't come across that arrogant. It didn't. I was like, what are you going to do?
You were just picked top 5.
Yeah.
Probably the best player in the draft.
I mean,
yeah.
What are you going to do?
You're special.
Yeah.
It's true.
And you know it.
Yeah.
You never say it, but you know it. And you were asked a direct question. Yeah. That's a direct answer.
That Vince video. It's very special.
Yeah.
Very special.
It was good. It was fantastic. That part was fantastic. Most of the guys, listen, one of the things that I love is, like, when they interview players, you really get a sense of not only maybe who they are, at least in terms of their background or their mental toughness or whatever it is you're looking into, like the fiery competitor and all that other stuff. Some of the guys you're like, oh my God, this is overwhelming. You can tell this guy has been through a lot. Like, he just let his guard down. And that's why people cry at these things all the time. You sense it. The over-under on people crying watching the draft has to be like 4.5 every year, 4.5 times. I mean, there's always a story that, I don't care what kind of cynic you are, you're going to go, holy moly, that's incredible. This guy's dad was shot 2 years ago. He clutched his jersey in his hand and swore he'd get drafted number 1. Look at this. These stories are insane. So some of the times you're watching it and you're kind of blown away. You get blindsided. But other times you get a glimpse in a kid's competitive fire. Like, you go, oh, I didn't know, you're not on my favorite team. I didn't hear you interviewed after games. Now I see you got some what for to you. You got a chip on the shoulder. I love that if it's your guy.
It feels like the receiver group from this year's NFL draft is going to be the one that ages the best. If you're going outside of that, Will Anderson, top 10 defensive player group. There's the run on the receivers towards the end of the first round. Zay Flowers is one of those that goes. Addison is another one.
Right.
The kid from TCU. Zay Flowers is a good football player. And when you're talking about checking extra boxes, the fact that he stayed at Boston College was actually quite impressive. In the era of NIL, he could have commanded an awful lot of money on the open market for Power 5. Very impressive. But those guys, I think Addison's going to be a good player too. That was a win. It's a sexy and shiny pick, but that's a win for Minnesota that he gets to play with Justin Jefferson as a rookie.
Doesn't suck.
That'll work.
Really talented player, pros pro, works hard, runs great routes, and is gifted. Yeah. I would submit to you, Tom, that I think moving forward, we're going to look at certain players who stay at certain programs in particular for the full allotment of time, whether that's 3 years and then they needed to come out because they're a top 10 pick, or 4 years because they weren't quite ready. If you stay all 4 or all 3, whatever the time slot is, at a place like BC or Wake or whatever.
Hell, even Pitt, if Addison had stayed.
Yeah. So I don't know. That might be seen at some point as a check, as a plus, as a guy who's loyal, who's, a man of his word. Who knows? Again, not begrudging certain kids, certain situations, leaving, taking it on down the road. Coaches come and go all the time. We get all that. I'm just saying it might. I mean, further removed we get from the beginning of this, we're going to go, hey, man, and by the way, that kid was offered a ton of money to leave Duke and go to Alabama and turned it down because he said he made a commitment to that coach. You're like, oh, don't know what that's worth.
Well,
it's part of an overall character assessment.
I believe that's the question. That it's different. The answer is different for everybody. Is $50,000 to change your destination, your current situation, enough if you know that you're going to go pro at the NFL level? Is it 100? Is it 150?
Everybody's situation is indeed different.
But I'll bet you for most of the kids, 50 probably isn't enough. If you're really happy where you are and you know, like Zay Flowers did, that you're going to be one of the top 5 receivers off the board, is 50 really going to make the difference if you got insurance policy and all that kind of stuff? Probably not. But whatever the number was, Jordan Addison, they hit that number.
Well, and I think that might have been in the range of $1 million. So that's everybody's number.
Congratulations.
Most are moving on.
You got smoked by Utah.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
There it is. That's okay.
Money well spent.
Well, and for him, he'd say, yes, and even if I hadn't been drafted, I'm off to a good start. So I took that money.
Not him. He's saying USC. There you go.
Yep.
Very efficient use.
Our friends at Power Mill want to help your little guy or gal out. If they're playing softball or baseball, they can do just that. Power Mill has helped 27 of their alumni that have made it to the majors, 45 years of teaching experience, 2,000 alumni from Power Mill, programs for every type of player, whether that is softball or baseball. They got camps coming up here over the summer, so you're going to want to check them out. Power Mill Training Academy. You want to learn more, go to the website, powermillsports.com. Very, very good at getting the most out of your child's ability, and that makes it fun to play the game. So no matter what you aspire to, you may want to give Power Mill a good look. If you would, cue it up. It's time.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Royals Twins, Jordan Lyles, Pablo Lopez. Orioles Tigers, Grayson Rodriguez against Eduardo Rodriguez. Cubs, Marlins, Marcus Stroman, Jesus Luzardo. That's my guy. Pirates, Nats. That'd be Chad Kuhl pitching for the Nationals. He used to pitch for the Pirates, and he sucks. Currently 0-1 with a 7.36. Buckles will throw Rich Hill, who's on fire.
There you go. You guys are dodging gray and gore. You're in business.
Mariners, Blue Jays, Luis Castillo, Alek Manoah. Guardians, Red Sox, Shane Bieber, Nick Pivetta. Braves, Mets, Max Fried, David Peterson. That's a mismatch. Bend over. Rays, White Sox, Zach Eflin, Lucas Giolito. Yankees, Rangers, Clark Schmidt, Jacob deGrom. I take it to beer. Schmidt. Phillies, Astros, Aaron Nola, Framber Valdez. Angels, Brewers, Tyler Anderson. Wade Miley. We've got the D-backs and the Rockies, Merrill Kelly, Kyle Freeland. Reds, A's, Luis Cessa, TBD for the A's. to our 5-21. My God. Cardinals, Dodgers, Jack Flaherty, only Flaherty, Dustin May. And that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. I do laugh every time I see him floating about.
He's just so happy, man.
When you go to Pensacola, not Pensacola, sorry, Ryan wrote Pensacola. When you go to, you don't see those otters in Pensacola, but you do see those otters all over San Francisco. It's great.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, they're everywhere. They're great. Cutie pies floating around. And when they got little ones on them, they're just sitting there on their chest, like float about.
Strange personalities, but they're never not interesting to watch.
What did Briley ask earlier before a week ago? He said he wanted some sort of positive affirmation for the weekend. What was it, Briley? What did I miss? What did I miss? I'm searching for your. I didn't get to it, Briley. Well, listeners need a little positivity for the weekend. Give us the positives for 2023 with no caveats, please, and thank you.
In 40 seconds.
Give us the positives? Florida State's going to be really good and has a chance to win the ACC, a really good chance to win the ACC. As in, I'm leaning towards I think they win the ACC. There you go. No caveats. Good work out of you. Good work, Director Matthew. You guys have a great weekend. We'll be back with you on Monday. Peace.